In this video, Dave Ramsey breaks down Trump's big, beautiful bill, and I am going to react to it because I'm an expert in my own opinion. So if you'd like to know my insights or my input on this, tap the like button and let's check it out.
The big, beautiful bill. I thought that was a nickname. They actually named the law that, which is trippy to say the least.
Beautiful? It's just such a strange adjective for a piece of paper.
I think it's pretty cool.
I'm glad they said something about that because I'm also like big, beautiful. Like, what's up with that? I'm kind of horrified that they made that the name. Dave says it's cool. I don't know, whatever, but I'm glad he said something.
I mean, it's kind of fun. But so everybody's wanting to know, okay, is the world going to come to an end because of it, or is the world honestly going to get better? Well, as usual with Washington, there's some things that are good and there's some things that are not good. And you can just kind of go with that. You know,
I don't think there's any bill that universally will help anyone and everyone.
Well, because that's not the government's job, by the way. It's your job to help you. Quit waiting on the White House.
That is something that I like about the advice that Dave Ramsey gives is he's like, don't wait on the government to save you. Like, it's your job to save yourself. Now, should it be that way? Like, I don't know. But the reality is the days of like working for some company for the rest of your life and then getting a pension that you can actually live on, that's not the norm, right? And so at this point, with the way the laws have changed and the way retirement works has changed, you're responsible for your own financial future. Okay. But you're given no resources or education or support for how to make that happen. I think that's the big problem. And so people walk around thinking, okay, I got to figure this out. But then you run into the fact that money is a taboo subject in a lot of families and communities, and it's crass to talk about money, and we don't talk about that, and blah, blah, blah. And so now you're like, okay, well, I need to somehow provide for my financial future so I can retire someday. I need to somehow do this. And yet you think everybody else has this stuff figured out and you don't. And almost nobody does. Latest stats I saw, according to Bloomberg, 97% of people approaching retirement age in the United States do not have enough money to retire and actually support the life they want, which means needing to continue to work, needing to move in with an adult child, needing to move somewhere else with a lower standard of living, like something to somehow make ends meet because people are not set up for success with this. And so I agree with Dave that because of the way the world is, you really do need to take matters into your own hands. You really do need to create your own concept of money systems and increase your own financial education because nobody else is going to do it for you. And even some programs that we have in the US, like Social Security, that's not necessarily going to be something that you can depend on. Or if it is there, it's not going to necessarily be enough that you can live on. So there's other places in the world that might not be the case. But yeah, in the United States, it's on us.
On the White House to fix your house, in other words. So, but anyway, everybody's wanting to know all this.
That's a good little tweetable. Don't count on the White House to fix your house.
So we thought we'd spend a segment on it anyway. I'm not going to spend the rest of my life on it, but I probably will because a lot of stuff's going to come up over the rest of my life. But anyway, first thing is the 2017 tax cuts were made permanent. They were scheduled to run out. And that's huge because the main thing that happened is 90 some odd % of Americans take the standard deduction, do not itemize. And the 2017 raised the standard deduction super high. And so it keeps you from having to pay federal income tax for a whole bunch of you at all, just because you get this huge standard deduction.
That's some real savings for most people.
And they increased it another $1,500 in 2025. Not for 24, but for 25, which when you file next year, you'll see that. And it's going to continue to increase adjusted for inflation. So that's a nice thing there. So
So I do like that that you have a bigger standard deduction. The bummer part is, if you're giving money to charity or, deducting mortgage interest, there's things that don't help you in the way that they used to. But on the other hand, it's simplified and streamlined things to a degree and giving you that larger standard deduction. So that's kind of good. So if you wanted to really take advantage of this, it would be awesome if you could look back at what your old standard deduction was and what your new standard deduction is, and then take that difference in what you would have paid in taxes and put it into investments instead. Because with this, what's happening is okay, you might end up paying less taxes, but I don't know if you'll even notice or feel the impact of that. Maybe. But if you take more of that and put it into investments, that's really going to move your wealth building forward, which would be really cool. So if anybody watches this and takes me up on that, let me know, because I think that that's really powerful in terms of taking money that was going to the government before and putting it into investing in assets that grow your net wealth and your golden goose and help you create wealth and freedom over time. That would be amazing. So yeah, I have no problem with them raising the standard deduction. I like the idea that they're adjusting it for inflation. I'm on board with that.
It makes the income tax filings be fairly easy for most people, and but you're not writing off interest, you're not writing off charitable deductions, with the exception of what I'm going to come to in a few minutes, that kind of stuff. So no tax. He kept his a politician kept a campaign promise. Note this: it's fairly unusual. Doesn't happen much. So no taxes on tips and overtime. He dreamed that up and everybody went bonkers, and they actually did it. Now, it's got limitations to it. The bill adds a tax deduction of up to $25,000 for income from tips. So you don't pay taxes on that.
And that's not dollar for dollar, but it will reduce your taxable income by that much.
Exactly.
Which is helpful. That's still a few $1,000 for most people that work on tips.
Yeah, and it's only for 3 years, 25 through 28, and then it expires. The deduction phases out if you make over $150,000 a year or $300,000 for couples.
I could see how, if you receive tips as a good chunk of your income, you'd be absolutely thrilled with this. And again, bank the extra while you can and put it into assets if you can, because that's what's going to help you move forward instead of just spending that money on something else. My only concern with this whole thing around not taxing tips is, when you're not collecting taxes in one area, then you have to make up for it in some other area. And so I wonder, how's that going to play out? If you're just somebody that's working for tips and now you don't have to pay as much in taxes, you're probably yay. But what other services are no longer available to you, and what happens to the overall country and what happens to other people? I don't know about that, but so this is just my reaction to Dave's reaction. So I'm not going to get all into the whole bill. But it is something that's it's a concern for me, even though for an individual not having to pay as much taxes, I like that for them. So that's cool.
Same thing for overtime. It phases out on that and is only for 3 years. And the bill adds a tax deduction of up to $12,500, $25,000 for couples for qualified overtime wages. So that's good. That's good. That's a move. Trump accounts, babies born from the start of 25 to the end of 28 would receive a $1,000 Trump account deposit. Where is that going?
It goes into, it's managed by the Treasury, and there are no tax advantages like there would be with a 529 plan or a Roth IRA. So the best part is the free $1,000.
It's just $1,000.
You get $1,000, and that, it'll have compound growth. I'm not sure how they're investing it. I'm not sure how much control you'll have.
None.
But it does have restrictions, and, you have to withdraw it at a certain time and all that kind of stuff. But it can be used for
that's
college,
useless.
Basically, that's useless. If you're just getting $1,000 when your child is young, that's nice. It would be even nicer if you could invest it, right? Because this is very vague in terms of what happens with it, how it gets invested. But if you get $1,000 when you're a baby, or you get $1,000 when your baby's a baby, and that is allowed to grow and compound until they're 18 or going off to college, that could be cool. But there's a lot of information that I don't have there. So I actually don't think it's useless. I mean, if you get an additional $1,000 and you can invest that over 18 years on behalf of your kid, that's nice. And even if they're not investing it well, somebody wants to just give you $1,000, yeah, great. So, that's a nice to have. And if it is actually compounding and growing, it could make a significant difference in being able to pay for their educational expenses.
Starting a business.
It's $1,000 one time. It's useless.
Yes. So I was excited at first,
and they're handling it.
Because I thought this could replace Social Security.
Political BS,
but it's not enough.
Student loan overhaul.
Political BS. I like how Dave just gives his opinion. He's like, meh. Anyway, I very much enjoy his delivery of this stuff.
I'm not going to get into that. Don't take student loans, okay?
Okay, just don't take student loans. Here's the thing, him just saying, oh, I'm not going to get into that. Don't take student loans. Well, okay, but last I checked, about 70% of people do take student loans. Maybe they're not listening to Dave Ramsey. They haven't figured out some other way to do this. So that is a huge percent of people that this does affect. So it'd be great to learn a little bit more about that. And he's just just don't do it. Which, yeah, I mean, if you can avoid student loans, that's really fantastic. And it's something we work with our clients on all the time, is how to send kids to college debt-free. Few quick tips, if this is, especially if in the United States, if you can have the kids start off with some community college and then go to an in-state school, that alone is going to save you just tons. And then as they're getting, kind of closer to that college age, if you can have them make it their part-time job to apply for scholarships, that can really help. So just those things can really move the needle, in addition to starting to save when they're young and invest over time with something like a 529 plan. That can be really great too. But yeah, I mean, I think that if you do have to take student loans, or if you have student loans, it'd be nice to see what this says about it.
Auto updates: those who buy American-made new vehicles can deduct up to $10,000 a year in interest on the auto loans. And that deduction phases out if you make more than $100K or $200 for couples. The bill ends a $7,500 tax credit.
Okay, well, hang on. Because Dave's all about don't get auto loans either. Don't finance a car. Buy cars for cash. So why is he giving us details on the auto loan financing and not on the student loans? Doesn't really matter, but I think he's probably going to say don't get auto loans either.
For the EVs, we knew that was coming. We knew Elon was pissed.
That is unfortunate about not getting the credits for EVs, because I think that was something that was really helpful for people who are buying in alignment with their values, that believe that EVs are better for the environment, and getting that tax deduction is important. And getting rid of it, I don't know. To me, what it says is that this government does not care about taking care of the earth. Now, that's debatable on whether EVs really do help. I mean, obviously it helps with less gas and stuff, but to produce them, maybe that offsets it. I don't know. But I think that's too bad. That's too bad for a lot of people that the EV credit isn't there anymore.
Everybody's seen that.
That one seemed vengeful. Oh.
Yeah, there's just drop
it's like a
that
bad
in
breakup.
There. Yeah. But I'll tell you what ended up happening was, north of town here, there's several million square feet. General Motors was building a battery plant.
Oh, wow.
For EVs, and they shut the construction down in the middle of it.
Because it's really going to hurt the demand when you reduce the credit.
They took their foot off
the gas. Took the wind out of the sails there.
I think that's something that's so heartbreaking when it comes to just massively shifting, political policies and tax policy like this, is the impact that it can have on other businesses and people. So in this case, it's a big corporation. It's not I'm not gonna cry for too long for them, but I do think about all the people who have just a regular small mom and pop business that can get affected by policy changes like this. And it's kind of, it can be kind of heartbreaking. So, yeah, it's too bad about that.
Took their foot off the battery.
Oh, there we go. No gas here, Dave. Oh, man.
Ba-boom.
All
Bill
right.
ends tax credits for rooftop solar, geothermal heat pumps, and other energy-efficient home devices at the end of 2025. If you're going to do any of that and want the federal tax credit for that, you do it by the end of this year, installed and paid.
Yeah. Again, we don't care about the environment. I just, that's upsetting to me as somebody who does care about the environment. And glad I already got my solar panels installed. So yeah, good to know if you were planning on putting them in that you want to do that now and get the tax credit while you still can.
Can't just be contracted for. Has to actually be done by the end of the year. Medicaid reduction. The bill creates a tax deduction of $6,000 for seniors for 3 years, 25 to 28. The deduction decreases if you make more than 75 or 150,000 for couples. Currently, no proof of work is required to receive Medicaid. The bill requires by the end of 26, most adults who do not have children younger than 14 to document 80 hours of work to get Medicaid.
That's per month.
Volunteering or training.
Not a week. Don't worry, guys.
Or something. Yeah.
So that's about a part-time job right there.
Yeah.
20 hours a week.
Well, I mean, you actually have to be doing something, to get this welfare.
For able-bodied adults.
Exactly.
Yep.
You actually have to be doing something to get this welfare. That to me feels very like judgy, Puritan ethic, like you have to be like working to have value as a human being. And, this programs like this, it's a social safety net, realizing that like not everybody has the wherewithal to be contributing to the system. And, we want to take care of the people that aren't necessarily able to take care of themselves. And so you might say, okay, well, you have to work 40 hours, or they say a month or something. But I do wonder, like, of the people who are receiving that now, like, are they actually able to do that? Are they able to keep up with the documentation? I am very concerned for people who are relying on this and not having the resources that they need to be able to live their lives. So definitely dig deeper into that if you're in that situation, and learn how it affects you and create a plan to deal with it, because Dave obviously has no sympathy.
SALT deduction, SALT, that is, this bill raises the current cap on the state and local taxes that people in high tax states have to write off on their federal returns from to $40,000 from $10,000 that you can write off if you live in one of those income tax states. Charity deduction bill lets you write off up to $1,000, whoopee, of your donations, $2,000 for couples, starting in 26, even if you take the standard deduction.
All right,
that's new, but it's all.
Well, I do think that they should give you the deduction for contributing to charity, because that used to be something that you could itemize, and now not, because of the larger standard deduction. And like, I don't know that you like need an incentive to donate to charity, but if you do and you're used to getting that tax deduction, it's kind of irritating not to. So I like that. I don't know why they're waiting to 26 to do that. It's only $1,000 to $2,000. But I'm glad that they bring that in a little bit, so that they are encouraging people to be generous and donate. And that's what you want, right? And so the thing is, tax policy has become a way of influencing socioeconomic policies and things that you want to see enacted, right? And so if you want to see more people buying EVs and doing solar, then you give themselves tax credits for that. They don't care about that anymore, so they're taking away that incentive. If you want people to give to charity, then you give them tax deductions for charity. So they want you to give a little bit. So just really interesting to see and think about, like, what is the behavior that these policies are meant to encourage or discourage. And they are discouraging us from being mindful of the environment and encouraging us to have children, maybe, and be a little bit generous.
But it's a whole $1,000, whoopee, no big deal. Tax credit for children, $2,000. It raises it to $2,200 and adjusts for inflation after that. So that continues as part of the 2017 bill.
Okay, so I like that they give you a tax credit for children. And by the way, a tax credit is different and way better than a tax deduction. So a tax deduction reduces the amount of income that you pay taxes on, in case you're not aware of this. And a tax credit offsets your taxes dollar for dollar. So if you get a $1,000 tax deduction, that means it's $1,000 income less that you're paying taxes on. So that maybe saved you like $300 if you're paying 30% in taxes. But if it's a $1,000 tax credit, that reduces your entire tax bill by $1,000. So they're raising the child tax credit to, sounds like $2,200. Man, that is just not enough. Okay, I have 2 kids. If you have kids, you know that $2,000 is not going to get you very far. I think that they should give you I think they should give you at least minimum, $24,000 tax credit, so that, if you're going to work, you can afford to have somebody come in and help with the kids part of the time. I mean, kids are just so expensive. It's so expensive. And it's not, little things add up, like diapers and clothes and, formula, if your baby needs formula and stuff like that. But the biggest expense is childcare. And that is just real. So that's either the income that you're not producing because you're taking care of the kids instead of working, or it's having to pay somebody to take care of the kids so that you can work. So I feel like, yes, they're wanting us to keep having kids, but if you really wanted people to have kids and raise happy, well-adjusted kids, help parents out, especially moms, single moms. It's like a breathtaking level of brutal, and I think about myself, I have my business, I have 2 kids, I have a lot of support. I'm so lucky. I'm so lucky that I have these resources. And sometimes I feel like I am barely hanging on by my fingernails with my sanity, managing the kids with the support I have. And I have abundant support. So when they're like, oh, we're going to give you $2,200 tax credit, I'm like, hey, you know what? All money's good money. I'll take it. But it should be more. That's my opinion.
HSA, more people are eligible and money can be used for more expenses like gym memberships.
That's a cool one.
That's neat.
I'm a big fan of the health savings accounts.
529 can be used for more expenses like tutoring or dual enrollment fees, workforce training after high school.
This is great for the trades.
So both of those things I like. I like more flexibility with the HSA. I like more flexibility with the 529 plan, that if you are saving up for health expenses or you are saving up for education, that it gives you some more flexibility and options with that. Totally approve and appreciate that change.
Mike Rowe will love this. The trades will be kicking up. That's good. And so basically a bunch of little tiny stuff. There's no big, beautiful thing in here.
Okay, so thank you, Dave, for mentioning that. He's like, okay, it's a bunch of little tiny stuff. There's nothing big or beautiful. I like his delivery there too. That was pretty funny. And I agree, there's nothing really big here in terms of what's going to impact an individual life, unless you're transferring some of that savings over to investments long term. That could make a difference long term. But I do think that because of reducing taxes on some of these individual areas, that it creates other problems that they're not talking about in this video, that we might want to address in another video. So that could be big and not so beautiful, but we'll see.
Yeah. It's a bunch of nickel and dime stuff. I mean, the top tips, I think the big one's no taxes on tips and overtime. But if you're not going to take out a car loan, and you're not going to take out a student loan,
why not give the benefit to anyone who buys an American-made car, whether they use debt or not?
I totally agree. If you're trying to incentivize buying more American cars, then give that to everybody. Instead of the EV credit, have it be the American car credit, and then all the American car manufacturers can use that in their, sales process. But why, ding people who are paying cash for cars and only if they're financing it? So it's they're encouraging you to buy American-made and be in debt. It's kind of weird.
Something, yeah.
Why only let the people who took out debt benefit from this? That's an odd one.
But that's help. Thank you to the banking.
That's America.
Banking lobbyists.
Here you
got
go.
Involved there. We'll make sure we're in debt. Spending like you're in Congress, it raises the debt ceiling by $5 trillion.
Okay, so that's what I'm talking about. So raises the debt ceiling by 5 trillion. Okay, raises the debt ceiling. So with this, the deficit spending is going to be going like way up, and so they're going to hit that debt ceiling faster, and they've raised it. They just keep raising it. So yeah, that's an interesting process to be in. You kind of wonder how far they can go before stuff starts to break down.
Which estimates are that'll probably last about the time that Trump is in office. And then they'll have the bump into the ceiling again. So
that debt ceiling, they just keep raising it. How high can this roof go? That's the question. Before it collapses.
Maybe if you were going to buy solar, or maybe if you were going to buy an EV, or maybe, and the EVs go away, I think that was September 30th. You can still do the EV thing up to September 30th.
Yeah.
And then, but really, there's not anything in here that's going to change your life.
I don't see any someone on a golden horse riding in to save your day here.
Mm-mm.
There's some tax cuts, so if for the people that were doing well,
the best thing that they did,
the
biggest thing, and it's kind of quiet on this, the way this is written up, is that they just made permanent the 2017 stuff, which is really big stuff.
Yeah.
In 2017, the thing they did do for those of you that run a small business is they brought the R&D write-off back. Thank God. If your business is under 31 million annually, you can start immediately taking your R&D tax credits back. That had been in place for like 75 years and went away 2 years ago.
Weird.
Because they didn't renew it because Congress sat on their thumbs, which they usually do. And so small businesses were getting slammed because they lost a huge depreciation issue on R&D.
I love Dave's disdain for the government. They sat on their thumbs. But yes, it's great that the R&D is back. Yay.
I know I did. If your business is more than 31 million, it's still coming back. If you're, like ours is about 300 million, so we don't qualify. And so it's still coming back, but we're going to have to wait till like 26 or 25 for it to show up. And it's a different issue. But yeah, but still, at least they got it all back in, and they put the tax law back together. That's what they did with that. So big, yeah, beautiful, yeah.
It's a bill. Okay, so that was really interesting, and I agree with them. Yeah, there's nothing like really earth-shattering to like your individual situation, unless it could be helpful if you start taking those tax savings and putting them into investments. So if you were to like meet with your tax person, do some number crunching, figure out like how much these things are saving you, figure out what that would be monthly, and then set up an auto transfer into your investment so that just automatically comes right out of your account, just like the taxes get automatically taken out of your paycheck if you're, a W-2 employee, and you just automate it, set it and forget it, and now your investments are growing faster. That could make a difference. And probably what's going to happen for most people is they don't do that and they just spend the money on something else, and they don't really necessarily notice any big beautiful difference. So that is my unsolicited advice to you. If you have any other reaction or any other videos you want me to react to, go ahead and let me know in the comments. If you thought this was helpful and interesting, tap the like button. Thank you for watching and have a beautiful day.